I'm going to do a landscape in soft pastel. I have mixed media paper, which is a heavier paper, but you can use watercolor paper to do the straw painting. So let's get started. Let's see. We'll start working with the sky area. And I got a darker type of blue. And then just basically darker in the corners. And we'll work our way out. I'll go with a little lighter blue. A little paler as we go along. That's all right if we get outside the lines. When we mat it, we won't see that. All right, I'll take some white. I know you won't be able to see it, but some areas where the clouds are, so it'll be lighter. Back to my pale blue, we'll put a little and we're going to go with some of our pinkish color down here towards the horizon. Oh, let me go a little darker. There, I like that a little better. And we'll change over to a little yellows in there and our lighter pinks. Mix that in. So now I'm just going to take my finger and work those colors. And remember, you do have some clouds in here, so we want to kind of keep those fairly white. And we're going to keep this sort of colorful today. I'm going to add a little color in over the white. Okay. And I'm going to go back to my whites. And we're going to kind of put some white tops on them. It's just little circular motion. Almost like you're coloring. I'm going to kind of trail that out to the edge. Maybe the same thing over here to the corner. Okay. Just kind of the bottom. Putting that in. Then blow some of that excess. The tops I'm just kind of barely touching, just kind of transitioning them in. All right, I like that. And I have paper towels. I occasionally wipe my fingers. In fact, I'll even use that sometimes to sort of do some blending, so you can always do that. also have stumps here, which we could use for blending too. But those are good for small areas, so we'll just set that aside. If we need them, we will use them. All right. Down here, I'm going to take a little purple and just draw. And remember, when we do mountains, you don't want, or hills, whatever you put in there, you don't want them all the exact same size. And of course, there's a dark side where the shadows are. And we do have a little lighter side. I'm going to start with a little bit of white. And then drag some of that purples into it. Okay, so now let's do some blending. Okay, now here's where that little stump comes in handy. Kind of hit the tops of those hills or mountains or whatever. Just blowing some of the excess pastels off. Okay, back to some purples. We'll darken a little bit. Put that in. And then we're going to drag some of it back over onto the highlighted side. And the whites. Kind of use that as more of a blender. I mean, I'm putting a little bit on the shadow side, but most of it is staying on the highlighted side. And then along the bottom, just straight across. And my fingers still got some of the purple on it, lavender, whatever. Just, all right, it's looking good. Okay, and let's get into some of our greens. We'll get into a little bit of blue-green. I'm kind of just using the side of it, creating a line across. And just sort of stroking up and down. Little tree line, so now you can start varying the heights. Some are higher, some are lower. You can even have some of that green sort of edging up the side of the mountain. All right. Yeah. Just a hard line right straight across. Because we're going to have some water. And here, you can even blend a little bit of that out. And you know what? Since we're going to have water, let's have some reflections. And I'm just very lightly A little bit of that purplish color in the water. I mean, I want it blended out. I don't want, in fact, I think I'll just kind of rub my fingers on it. Just want some of that color to reflect into the water, as if some of the mountains you can see down here. Okay, let's get, how about some of the yellows? And I'm just doing the same thing, just kind of adding some color. And let's do some of the pinks too, since we're going. Not sure if I'm going to have water all the way to the edge, but if we don't, it's good practice here. All right. And then I'm going to go into our pale blues. Now this I'm going to kind of, even though I was up and down, I was, yeah. Then I'm going to leave, see how I leave a little bit of white in there? And I'm going to streak. Some water streaks going across. Go in, get a little of the darker blue, bring a couple streaks across there. You can even, almost like there's some movement. You want to basically keep it going straight across, but I mean you can give it like there's a little wave or something going across. And I think I will use my stump, because I want to keep those lines fairly thin. So I don't want to blend them all the way out. So I'm going to kind of use my stump to drag those out. Yeah, and these are also called torsion. Sticks. And it's basically rolled paper. And they come in all kinds of sizes. I bought a packet which has various sizes, but they do. Okay. And I think I'm going to take a little white, maybe underneath some of those. That'll lighten them up a little bit. And I think I'm going to add one or two back here. I'm going to add a little white to that. I could have used a lighter, but I like that particular shade. All right. Well, you know what? That mountain standing up too much of a reflection. Let's sort of cut through that. Yeah, I like that. All right, it's looking good. So let's see. Let's keep moving forward. I'm gonna add some white in here. And I'm streaking. I'm not putting it, covering the whole thing. It's lines of it. And I'm gonna go in with some of my lighter, that same blue that we, and put them in. And I'm hitting some of the white areas, but I mean mostly it's hit and miss. And then I'm gonna kind of blend that. And I'm gonna take a medium blue, an in-between blue. It's, you know, we had the dark and the light. We're sort of in between. Right in here. That's sort of, and I'll bring a little bit of that into the lighter blue area. And where's my And in here, we'll just sort of, some of the clouds reflected in there. A little more white in some of those areas. Okay, well, let's see, like we need some trees. We can do evergreens, we can do whatever kind of tree you happen to like. So let's start with, oh, let's go with the bright green. I'm doing the highlighted side of the tree. And I'm going to come in with a little darker. And the light's sort of in the center, so you're getting it coming from both sides. You know, normally if you got the light here, you want to highlight on the right side if you got it coming from the left. But here, you sort of got it right in the dead center. And then, of course, I'm going to go with my darkest greens. Just here and there. I don't want it everywhere. I just, you know what? I've got a brown here. Maybe. You can see a couple little spots here where maybe the trunk comes in. Alright, or we can use our blender, or we can come in with our finger, whatever you're comfortable with. On this side, it's pretty easy to use your finger, and then sort of out here, so you still get that lacy look. You can use that. We got ourselves a nice little tree here. Just turn the fan off behind me so you can hear a little better. All right, I like that tree. Now we need a trunk. So I'm gonna go with a lighter. And it's gonna come down. And then a little darker on the other side. And we can, and of course we need some land for it to stand on. We don't want a tree growing just out of the water, so let's go back in. We'll use our medium green. And there's some grass is growing back here. And of course under the tree it's going to be shadowed. So that's why I'm using my medium green. And I'm just kind of lifting up with my fingers. We'll get more details later. I'm going to take some lighter just as it comes out to the water. Maybe a little shoreline there. Back to my medium greens. And back to my lighter greens. We get out from under the shadow of the trees. I'll even take a little bit of the yellows. Maybe some dry grasses here out in the sun and get a lot of rain. And back to my browns. Put a little land under there. And I think I'm going to pull a little bit of that green. Just a little bit of reflections in the water. Same over here, some yellows touches of green. And then, of course, my white. Maybe I'll even take my darker blue in a sharp corner. I'll just sort of do a little water line there. Pull that out. And some darker browns. Give it a little shoreline there. Yeah, it looks good. And let's see, we're gonna reflect some of that tree into the water. Maybe not much. And we're gonna streak that way as the water moves. Or some of those greens, or some of the lighter ones. We're not detailing it like up here. We just want to look like we got some reflections. And I'm going to take some blues. Blues I'm sort of going across like water. And just sort of, and just kind of streaking it back and forth. Bring a few down. And then I can take this in, get rid of some of the real water lines coming through there. Maybe another one right here. There, that looks good. All right, we've got this side of it. Let's go and maybe I'm gonna add a few more highlights up here and just put some yellows. There, I like that. I give it a little more distinction up there. So on this side, I think I'm gonna bring a little land out from up here. Not much. Just something coming out. I'm gonna pull it down in the water area. And my browns for a shoreline underneath. And I'm going to do some lighter ones. I'm sticking up here. And then on this side, I think I'll do maybe an evergreen. And just draw a line and just sort of back and forth. I'm lifting up occasionally, so I'm not drawing a straight line across. With a darker color, just sort of here and there, like there may be a trunk in there. And for this one, the top, okay. And I'm going to go with my medium green. Don't want to lose all the dark. You want to see some of the dark in there. And then we can take a touch of the yellow, mainly on the highlighted side. And fact, I'm going to go back and get my darkest greens and down here and get it real dark. As it gets down, it's going to be shadowed. Okay, I like that. And maybe, it's a little one here. Same thing, back and forth. Some of my darker ones down here. And my lighter. Just up the top, maybe a touch of the yellow. And just kind of blend that in. I kind of lost the top there, so I'm gonna just put it back. There. A little darker on the side. And we should have, that looks pretty good. We'll leave it at that. Down here with some darker stuff, we'll just pull up some grasses. And of course, where's my medium green? Very lightly, and just sort of kind of coming to a point. And I'm going to start here, work my way back, and then get some of that green into the water. Some white streaks coming across. Alright. We got some reflections here. Maybe a little more out here. Okay, it looks pretty good. Maybe a little blending here. And we can go back and blend anything we basically want to blend. So, out here, I think I am going to do in this corner. Oh, let's see which corner I want. I think in this corner here, I'm going to pull up some, I don't know, grasses with tall reeds, I mean, whatever. Something's growing over in this corner. Kind of swampy. And I'm just kind of streak that up a little bit. I don't want to lose the lines there. And I'm going to come back in with my medium greens down along the bottom. Even more grasses. And I'm going to blend a little more. And where's my brown ones here? Use that. And then I'm going to pull up a few brown ones here. I want my light ones. Couple branching out. And I'm going to do some of my browns. Maybe some of these are cattails. And those I will use my blender. And maybe one over here. Small guy just starting to peek out. Back to my greens. I'm going to put some, let's get some medium greens in there. Ah, I like that. That's shows up a little better. And we can kind of lose some of them. We don't want to lose them all. We just, all right. And how about, oh, maybe over here we got a rock in the water. There's one. There's two. We're gonna put some, that's my lighter on top. And then I'm gonna kind of blend and pull down. Blend and then pull down reflections. And I'm gonna take my white and pushing fairly hard, put some highlights on top of that rock. Back to my blues. Maybe a little waterline underneath. And my whites. All right, I like that. Let's maybe another one here. Same thing, just making a little hump. And he's got a couple friends there. And then our lighter one on the top. Gonna blend those just slightly, pull down for those reflections. And then that white. On the top. Gonna put a waterline on the bottom, a little bit of the blue. That water's running through. So we got some rocks there, maybe. Let's do a big one over here. We'll cover up that corner too. There's my white. Put that highlight on top. And even, oh, maybe a touch of gray down here. At the base of it. And you can work the different. So just kind of losing a little bit of it. Just there we go. You got yourself a rock, and then a little blue. Just like that water's coming around it. All right, I like that. Maybe a little some waves out there. And let's kind of look around. Do we need anything else? Maybe some yellows. I like that. A little color. Maybe a drop of red. Don't want too much. Just a little bit of something. All right, I think it's looking pretty good. Let's see, I think I want to define these trees a little bit more down towards the bottom. Maybe you can see a little bit of the trunk sticking down. So, all right, like that. Let's go in. Now you can go ahead and continue to blend more here if you like it like this. You can leave it like that, or you can go and blend it. I think I'm gonna sign this one. I've got a sharp corner here, or you can even use, I do have some soft pastel pencils, but I think this will work just fine. If you're more comfortable with the pencils doing something like that, and one way off in the distance, his little wings. Oh, there we go. We're just flying in. And if it's a little too bright, you can always, but be careful on blending. You don't want to. And let's see, get my reds. Oh, it's a good place here. And of course, like I says, you can always use your pastel pencils for that small work. We do have those. And signing your name or putting those birds in. You can even go in and put some details in on the trees or whatever else you want to do. And of course, when we put our mat around it, we have a finished painting there. I hope you enjoyed that.